Hey everybody, I hope everybody's having a good day. It's kind of cloudy here, and I'm okay with that because it's really starting to get hot. And that's your weather report for today. So, today I wanted to work on a new project, and I'm always looking for ways to use cardboard refuse, stuff that, normally goes into the recycling bin. Um, I don't know, every time we empty some kind of a container or whatever, I'm always looking at it like, what can I use this for? And it's not just, cardboard, it's like plastic things too. You know how it is, you people like me who think that you've got to, reuse. And that's great. I think everybody should recycle everything they can. If there's something you can't recycle, you need to send it off to the recycling place. We're lucky and fortunate to live in an area where our recycling is picked up for us. Hopefully, they're doing the right thing with it and taking it somewhere and it's getting reused. So anyway, but the point being, I love to recycle things. I have a lot of stuff, um, cardboard type things, packaging, and I love to recycle them. And I like to try to figure out what I'm going to do with them, um, as far as crafting goes. So I was we just finished up a little mini 12 pack of Sprite, and it starts out looking like this. So this is a Coke one, but and really I just went and emptied this just so I could show you guys what it looks like. But there's a lot of good opportunities here for different size tags, different, you can make a book, make a journal out of it. And I know sometimes it's kind of hard to see, and sometimes I have to kind of look and scrutinize stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm walking away here, but I've got like just bins of things that I'm gonna bring this over and show you, and it's maybe a little embarrassing. I don't know if you can see it all, but like there's all these things that can be made into something. Um, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I have tons of these. I've made so many tags and things, using I'm sure I'm just ruining my focus here, but, out of my butter boxes that I get at Costco, I'm always, trying to come up with something to make those. Anyway, the point being, I have tons of this stuff hoarded up. That's just one bin of many. And I have like larger format stuff too. But anyway, the other day, this was out on the counter, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start cutting it up. So we'll move that out of the way. And this was my scraps. So I just wanted to show you that I tried to be really good about making sure I utilized well, you know what? This is not bad. These two could be little tags, because I'm always looking for like, straight edge stuff. So all I have to do is take that and make a straight edge there and one right there. And look, they're not even exactly the same size. And they're close though. I'll probably have to trim them up. I probably actually did cut off of this edge here, um, so that it would be a little easier to work with. But anyway, so I'll do that. I'll cut that off here in a minute. But here's what all I came up with. So let's get rid of the stuff I really am not going to use. But I've got this. I've got these two right here. I got this guy right here. There's another little tag situation. Here's one. Probably should turn them over so that they're not so glary. Here's a big, a larger piece that could be cut up into several tags. Now it does have this little thing that you were supposed to pop your finger into to make it easier to get into, but it didn't happen for that. But you know what? It could still be used. And once I put paper on either side of it, which I will, that's not going to matter so much. And who knows, maybe there's going to be a bend right there. But anyway, I've got that piece. And I've got another piece similar to that. It's a good size. And then I've got this whole big side here that I went ahead and kept the flaps that were attached here and glued them down because I was thinking, what if this could be the base of the book or folio or whatever it is I'm going to make out of it? Maybe it's going to be folded in half. Maybe it's going to be folded into thirds. I don't know. But it's nice to have a little bit of extra reinforcement. So it doesn't hurt to, to use those flaps and just glue them down. And I think I just used, oh, sorry, that's loud. I used some bulldog clips to hold them down and get them glued together and adhered. So anyway, what I've got to decide is what kind of paper I'm going to use because I'm going to have it on both sides. And this is kind of a perfect project for those. I have a lot of this scrapbook paper. Let me get this stuff out of the way for a minute. And I've got this set that I've had for a long time. And I was kind of digging around in it and looking to see what all I had. What is this? Where's the front part? It's here somewhere. I thought it was. Oh, it must be under here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Kirby Teasdale. And, I'm pretty sure I got it at probably Hobby Lobby. That's where I picked up, like when I first started doing this, I picked up a lot of scrapbook paper and realized, once I got into it, that all these one-sided sheets were just, it's like, oh, great. Okay. So when I wanted to make something, I had to make sure that I was, using some base and then adhering paper to both sides. And that's fine. And it's actually works out really well because, it gives you reinforcement to have that cardboard or whatever you're using in there. And then you can put whatever you want on one side and on the other side, and you don't have to worry about it. So anyway, but this is a sweet set. I don't like some of the colors. Some of the pinks are a little, how would you say, harsh? Kind of harsh. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what I thought. Well, you know what? I need to use this stuff up. So I grabbed several sheets, and I actually grabbed some. I've used this before quite a bit, and I love it because it's looks like writing and it's just real pretty. But I've never used this one, and I think there's 4 pages of it in that set. So I guess just because it's such a large format, but it would be kind of pretty. I don't know if it's too large for this. I mean, that could be interesting. I wish that they would put the interesting thing over on this side a lot of times because usually I want that to be the the front. But what I need to do anyway is I don't need to adhere whatever I'm going to adhere to this all in one piece because that usually really messes the spine up. And here, I'm going to stop using that side because those are so glary. So let's just turn all those over. Anyway, but the spine ends up getting weird. So what I'll probably do is cut whatever piece and adhere that piece and then adhere that piece, or if this ends up being a trifold, I'll have piece, piece, piece. So, and we'll leave a little bit of space on the spines for so it can flex and not look weird and not crinkle up the paper or whatever. So anyway, but that's what I was thinking about as far as like this piece. So maybe I could just come in and that could be the the front and that could be the back. I don't know. I just thought maybe I'd try to use that, but I don't know yet. And then I have some scrap pieces laying around that I saw this and I thought, well, that kind of goes along with, I think those colors kind of go together. So that's not horrible. This is another one that has, I don't know if it even translates on camera, but the pink is, it's a little Pepto-Bismol? Is that what I don't know, it's just that sort of, I love pink, don't get me wrong, but I like, a little more of a muted or dusty, rosy pink. This is just sort of stark and I don't know. There's just something about it. But this is a really cute page too. So, it's got the whole dress form thing going on. Again, the interest is over here, not over here. But anyway, so that's kind of cool. This is different. At first, when I first saw this, I thought I wouldn't like it, but I've actually used it in several places in different projects. So it's kind of got a couple of different shades of green going on, kind of a limey green, a little darker green, and then it's got a pink that's not quite so Pepto, but it's definitely on that hotter, warmer, warmer pink side. I don't know. And then this is kind of pretty. I don't know. I thought this came from this, but this is not from this page right here. This is from another one. So there was something else, and I must have used all of it up because I couldn't find it in the tablet anymore. So I've got this. This is pretty. It's kind of a cool format. It's got a lot of different colors going on, sort of some muted florals. And then there's this. There's a couple of different butterfly designs going on in there. And again, this has kind of got this kind of the purple and the pink. Some of them are a little, I don't know. See, and I like yellow. I like that mustardy kind of yellow and stuff, but I'm just not sure about this color situation. So anyway, I'm going to go off and make some decisions about it, and I'm going to come back and we're going to start assembling this and see how it's going to lay out, because I'm not sure if I'm going to, like I said, it might be a trifold. Maybe there's going to be a page that's going to become a pocket and be in the center and be a fold down. I don't know. And then I've got all these um, opportunities for tags and stuff. So I don't know, but wouldn't it be cool to say, okay, I took apart a soda box, got what I wanted out of it, and ended up with this really beautiful little piece of, art. We're going to call it art for all intents and purposes, but just a cool ephemeral uh, piece of work, and I just think it'd be cool to utilize that. So anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes to show you what I come up with as far as which paper I decided on. Okay, so things went a little differently than I originally thought they were going to, and actually it is a few days now since since I first started filming this, and that always tends to happen to me. Life gets in the way, you know how it is. But I decided, I actually did kind of put this together and thinking I was maybe going to do kind of a book thing, and I didn't like it that much. This was going to be the outside. There was just, I don't know, that this was going to be the flap. And I don't know, I just couldn't get it to looking like I really wanted it to. But I thought, hey, I still have all these pieces, so I can always use tags. And a couple of these things I'm going to use as tuck pockets in a journal. So I went ahead and cut everything up. These are just one-sided, so these are going to be used in a journal to do some tucking. And then all of these, and of course, here's this poor little guy's booty. But this is, I think I kind of like it, and I'm actually going to probably cover that up. But I want to embellish these, and I can always use tags, and I've got so many, I don't know, scrippy scraps, I guess, just, torn pieces and pieces that I need to get rid of and use. And of course, I know every time I say that, I'm like, I always end up with more. So I don't know. But anyway, I was looking at this, so she's kind of missing her head, but that's okay. I was messing around with a stamp. I was thinking I would use these to make tags that are maybe a little along like a mailing theme, like a postage theme, because I have this drawer right here that's full. I'm probably getting my head in the way. It's full of these little sticker, look like postage stamps, and there's some kind of weird ones in there, but um, a bunch of them are kind of neat, and these are just some numbers and things that I have printed out for when I need, when you need a number. That's actually a little post-it note thing, but anyway, but I've got these, and I'd just like to use up some of them. I just seem to have so many, and I use them here and there, but I just like to get some going. So I'm going to set those up there handy. And then I've still got all my scraps from the project. So these are how all the tags came out. Some of them have, these are the colors that I chose. And I can show you, how it sort of started out, looking like. I'll throw some images up of, what I was kind of originally thinking as far as a booklet. But like I said, I just wasn't feeling it. But I like the colors and the papers that I ended up using all of these. I really, I like the rosy thing. This ended up being good for what I needed, and this green is not far off from that. Then I've also got, I've got I've got some book pages. I've got, I think this is just some craft paper. Just thinking about, I wouldn't really call it mixed media because it's mostly paper, but I've got, just some tea stain paper. But I was just thinking all these little bits and bobs that are laying around. Actually, I have them in a box. Here's another whole mess of different ones that I thought would kind of go with some of these things. Just little pieces that I have here and there that I've torn. I just thought maybe I'd just start tearing and start building on these. So that was kind of what I was thinking. So I'm going to see where this goes and how far I get. And as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead. I'm going to add to these, but I'm going to think about what I want to, because I don't want them too thick. I don't want them too embellished because I don't want it to hinder the closing of, one of the journals that I'm going to put them in. So anyway, I'm going to set those off to the side, and I'll start working on some of these. So let's scoot these over. And I was thinking about using some stamps, and what I was going to say is this special delivery that I just, was playing around and I stamped there. That is, so I'm a notary public, and I get, every, I don't know, is it every 6 years, every 8 years? I don't know, but I have to get a new stamp. I have to renew my notary. And this is my previous stamp. I just got a new one. And I was thinking about the fact that I hardly ever use it. I just use it for work. And, it's a good inker, and it's one of those self-inking things, and I never have to put ink in it, but it's still got a lot of good ink. And so I took my information, the sticker, the stamp, the plastic part off, and I thought, well, I've got a bunch of stamps that have pieces that will fit in here, and rather than getting all inked up, using my inks and stuff, and I can still use my lucite blocks and stuff. I just thought, you know what, I can just switch this out and put this in here. So that one was, this one was special delivery, which I don't know. It's okay. I thought I'd cover it up. But this one's more like a French postal. I think it says Francois. Anyway, here, let me get a envelope. And I had to, I had to give myself a note. I had to write a little on a little piece of paper this way because I forget which way that I put um, the stamp in there, and then I'm like stamping it kind of upside down than from what I meant. So anyway, so I just, I thought, well, I could use that. That's something I can, utilize. So there we go. Anyway, but then I've also got my, wherever they are here, my lucite blocks are somewhere. Like this one will probably be a good one to use for some of this bigger stuff. So anyway, but that's later. So I'll be stamping, later on after I've, got a few things down on these tags. So anyway, but, I was just thinking about, all these different things. And I was also thinking about maybe some tea bags because I've got quite a slew of them right now. So tearing up some of these and using them. Let me get a few of these out. I've got some bits and pieces here where everything's blowing away because the fan's on. So I'm probably going to have to turn that off. It's actually not too bad because it's later in the evening now and it's not so boiling hot. So this is a tea bag that still has tea leaves on it. So I don't know. I wonder if they'll stay on there. But I might want to use something like that. So anyway, that one's okay. I'm going to have to turn the fan off. So hang on just a minute. Let's do that. At least turn it down. Otherwise, all my stuff's going to go blowing around, blowing away. Anyway, so there's the tea bag stash. And just going to check and make sure we're still in frame. All right. So, see what we got here. Okay. I think I'm going to cover up that special delivery, or at least part of it. But let me get going with getting some ink. This, I know I'm going to use that. There's just so much time spent adhering things. So it's just always the way. Here we go. And these will be good for just having handy. I'm always needing, I'll finish a booklet or just, even using them for like bookmarks and stuff, journal tags. I'll finish a journal and not really have a clear idea about what tags I want, but it's nice to have some to choose from. Do that there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get some of this going here. Get a piece. Easy to tear it down the length of it, but not so much across. I mean, they're formidable. I'm trying to decide if I need to try to ink. These are really hard to ink because obviously there's nothing really to hang on to. This is where I end up getting filthy fingers because I'm inking them as much as I am whatever I'm inking. So anyway, just kind of give that a little more something. And the way I usually end up doing these, well, I can do it this way. It's not bad. It doesn't take much glue to get these to where they're sticky. And I think I'm gonna kind of, I always like to squinch it up a little bit. I'm just gonna do that. I like that. And, maybe I'll add some, dimension to this. Maybe I'll put like some buttons. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I like that. And I was thinking about, I have this little strip of stuff here, which I think might be kind of a good idea if I'm going to do this, do my stamping. Then I want to have some areas where you can actually kind of see what it is I'm stamping. Get that there. And I don't know how these are going to turn out. I think they're just going to be whatever they end up being. There's that there. I kind of like it there. So let's do that. Okay. So yeah, sometimes, sometimes I have a super clear idea of what I want, and sometimes I don't. And it's okay because, you can change direction, and unless you have a specific set, like you're using like the Stamperia sets and stuff, but you can always deviate from that as well. Thinking maybe some words would be good, but you just never know how things are going to come out, and sometimes you do just have to kind of change direction, and that's okay. Okay, kind of like that. Or do I want to put it here? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I want it there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to try and overthink it. I'm just going to lay things down and see where is the best place to put it, allegedly, and not change my mind or not give myself time to change my mind. So there we go. Okay. And then I don't mind if anything hangs off the edge either. This looks a little crooked to me. Not that I'm that worried about. Right about there. Yeah, things can hang off the edge. Let's see what we have here in the way of these. So that's Christmassy. I don't want that. This is like a mushroom thing. That's Christmassy. Oh, I love this. I always love where there's animals. That's kind of cool. And I love owls. Owls can be a good thing. Covering up my words. You're not hardly going to be able to tell that there's a lady back there missing her head. That's kind of pretty. Oh, I like that. Okay, we're not going to, remember how we're not going to overthink it? I am going to put all this Christmassy looking stuff kind of down here for now. And that way I don't keep picking it up. So let's see if I can, don't look at my nails. Oh my gosh. Did I already mention this? I got, hardly ever wear fake nails, but when I went to get my toenails done, I went ahead and let them talk me into doing my fingernails and got gel nails. And oh my God, they tear my nails up so bad. It's ridiculous. It takes forever for my nails to recover from being suffocated. And I know a lot of people use gel nails, and that's fine, and I am glad for you if you can do it. And I don't mind them. I love the way they look, but man, when I go to take them off, it's like, oh my gosh, my nails are just so transparent from, they're just super thin. Okay, I really kind of like that. You know what? When I was cutting on this, I never did finish inking around the edges. I'm going to do that now before I forget. Obviously, I did sort of a tag cut here. Instead of rounding the corners at the top, I decided, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So this is the other side, because remember this was going to be a flip. And so I've got to cover this side up too a little bit because it's upside down, which I don't care. Of course it's upside down. But this is the front. Well, we'll say it's the front, but this could be the front. You never know. Sometimes, oh look. Look at this. Oh, it's the same. It's the Duchess corset. Corset. I shouldn't say corset. It's corset. But I don't really want that. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because it's going to be covered up. But it's going to be this way. So maybe it is going to be there because I'm pretty much gonna, yeah, you're not going to know there's a corset under there necessarily. So that's okay. We're going to take this piece. I promise I'm going back to the other side here in just a sec. I just thought about this. What do we got here? It's kind of cute. Actually, I'm gonna sort of cut it off here and save that piece for a minute. Yeah, you can tell it's a corset. I'm gonna leave part of it. I don't know. I may not. I'll probably end up covering it up. But that's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. So this will definitely be something that's two-sided. You can't really tell that's a corset. I don't care. Okay, we're just going to do that. Here we go. And it's kind of the same, you know what, it's kind of the same color. So I think what I'm going to do, and this will kind of alleviate that problem of the corset showing, is I'm going to save this piece for just a sec. I haven't changed my mind or anything, but I think I'm going to grab something. I want that. Maybe I'll go back over here to this. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just add a little extra color back there. Let's see. We gotta tear everything because I love how everything looks when it's torn. I use some straight edge stuff, but not very often. Not when it comes to decorating, embellishing. I just like that torn look and inking it up and making it look old like it's supposed to. And sometimes I don't have to worry about it because I am using old stuff. I've got to get busy using, if you saw an unboxing video that I did not too long ago, a bunch of ephemera that I bought at an antique mall nearby. Just grabbed some old books, some old catalogs and stuff like that, magazines, and let me get this off right now while I'm thinking about it. And I want to use that stuff. I Yeah, this is basically going to cover all that up. We're going to use that. You know, this is an opportunity to something like that. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and ink the whole thing. I'm sorry, glue the whole thing. But yeah, I want to get that stuff out and look it over. I've used a little bit of it, but it is really, some of it's in really rough shape. I mean, it's kind of brittle and it's a little hard to work with. I'm going to sort of do this. We're going to have that in another sticky on the other side, but that'll dry. It dries fast. So we've got that. And then now I'm going to put that corset upside down. I'm going to do this. Maybe it's going to be a little bit off as well. Yeah, like that. Okay, I like that. And then let's go ahead and add our, what about that? You know, I guess that was an envelope flap. Yeah. Kind of the same color, which isn't a horrible thing. I could stick with my, it's too much of the same stuff. I could stick with my, put some more written paper. Which sound is lower? I don't know. That doesn't strike my fancy. Maybe we're just, you know, because this is the other side anyway, so maybe we're gonna just do another stamp thing. So this is having to do, oh, the colors really match, but it's kind of getting kind of, yeah, I don't mind that. I always see these in there. There's tons of safety matches stamps. I don't know why. But I don't mind that these are kind of the same color family. I'm gonna throw this guy right here. Try to get him sort of lined up with the edge. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Mind that. So, okay, let's just use our little stamper here and see. Yeah, that's cool. Do we want that one on that side? I don't think so. I don't know that I want to repeat. So let's find some other things that look like, help if I would turn them over so I could read them. Like here's a little guy. Let's see. I'm just going to use the ink that I have out here. Let's see if I can get it to, I'm really supposed to do it this way, I know, but I think it's this way. We're just going to off-center that. I don't mean off-center, I mean kind of put it near the edge. And oh, that's kind of cool. Let's also do, stick that one back on there real quick. And let's do the little, I don't know, cancellation mark. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna put it over here like that. Yeah, it's not bad. And then over here, let's find something else. Let's see. Special delivery. There's first class. There's airmail. do that. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we're going to try it. We're going to try it, and I am going to do it this way because I'm trying to. A little bubble. There it goes. Okay, we're going to hang it off the edge over here. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad. I mean, I don't care. And let's do this other. Everything's Paris. Let's see. Like nobody ever mailed anything unless it was coming or going to or from Paris, huh? Is that what this is about? I know it's not because I already saw that there was US stuff in there. I kind of go here. Yeah. And I'm, playing with fire here. Doing this on my mat without something on underneath. This still needs something though. It needs something right here because here I went and put that there. I don't know if it's a stamp though. Is it a stamp that it needs? Maybe it needs a flower. Of course, we already kind of have some flowers right here. Maybe this is where we're going to use one of our numbers. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, almost like it's a specimen or something. Is that the kind of number we want? Here's one that's a little more, I don't know, old-fashioned looking, is it? Kind of pretty. I don't know. I think we're going with this one. And when I have pieces this big, I end up keeping them. I can't help it. I can't help it. Let's do that. And I've got words I could be using too, not just numbers. I've got a bunch of phrases and words printed out on tea stain paper, so I could use some of those. So here we go. Yeah, I kind of like that, even though it's the same color. Okay, let's just do and like this. I think that's what we're gonna do. And look, I'm not gonna tear it. I'm just gonna ink it so that those white edges aren't showing. I'm not gonna worry about the fact that it's probably not straight. So we're just gonna go with it. Gonna go with it. Gosh, I'm getting too much glue. All right. Yeah. Because it's mementos, right? This is something that somebody saved. They put together a bunch of stuff that meant something to them. I'm always trying to make up a story in my head about what the story is behind this stuff. Because there usually is. If you find real ephemera, real old things, they were kept for some reason. They meant something or they were forgotten, which is kind of sad. But you know what? It's not. It's such a treasure to find stuff that's been, either preserved or forgotten, but kept away. And then all of a sudden somebody finds it. Okay, I like that. And I like that. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to go with this. I might come back and add like some lace. I'm definitely going to poke a hole in it and either add some ribbon or maybe a piece of leather. I don't know yet, but that one's done. Done. So I'm going to set it off to the side. And let's grab, I'm not going to make you sit through all of these. I'll show you when I get them all done. Let's grab this little skinny guy. This one, let's kind of focus on this side. And I think maybe this thing is going to be a good candidate for this. I'm going to tear at it. Oh yeah, it's got, it's kind of got that white situation, the white edges, although I'm not using it. But that can work to your advantage at times. I'm just not going to use it this time. But speaking of like mementos and how people do save things, and I think we all save, some things to a certain degree. But back when I grew up in an antique shop, and later on, after my dad passed away, my mother and I kind of we decided to kind of change up the situation, and we had a consignment shop. We still sold antiques and stuff, but we also let people sell, crafty items and different things in our store. And we used to make shadow boxes we'd take old frames, the old kind of gilded frames and everything, and create a box, usually depending on what it was and what we had to put in it, but usually the standard was about 2 inches deep, and created a box out of mat board and put it together. And then I would assemble things, and it sort of would evolve into this story. And this is kind of where I get this idea of, I think, oh, this needs to have a story, because I would, and I even wrote on the back of some of them, some people that we know, from being antique dealers and just hanging out with people who deal in antiques or buy antiques or whatever, or collect them. We still, occasionally somebody will say, I have one of your shadow boxes, and you wrote the most interesting story about all the stuff that was in there. Well, it was made up because I didn't know. It might have been like like a pair of gloves, a postcard, a picture of a guy or a gal, just an old fashioned, old timey stuff. And this was, we didn't have all this, paper that you could buy that looked old. This was all old, and it's just what we had. And we'd put doilies in there, and lace, paper doilies and lace doilies, and jewelry. There might be like a rogue earring somewhere, and we'd glue it in there. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, and it was fun to sort of make up a story. And it was sweet just to think about. Here's what could have been. It's just kind of fun. So I don't know, but I like doing it. So I'm liking this. Oh, there's that Schweppes soda again. Schweppes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of liking this dark thing. Yeah. This might be from that same, is it? No, it's not that same pad of paper that I got the rest of this out of. I was really waffling around about which paper I wanted to use. And I started to video all that, and then when I realized I was going to go in a different direction, I stopped. But short enough. But like I said, I can throw up some pictures here and there, and you can kind of see what I was going for at first. Okay, I kind of like that. I don't know. Yeah, I can still read this. So I think we're considering this the top. So I'm gonna Adhere this guy. I'm ready. So this was all this, this paper that's, single-sided. And that was my whole point, is I wanted to kind of try to use up some of this paper that I have. Oh, I like that better. Because I just have tons of it, and I use it here and there, but I'm like, what if I really focused on trying to use up like 6 or 8 sheets of it? So that was sort of where I was going with this project. So that's going to go here. Okay, so we've got that. And the only way that I could do a stamp on here is if I cut it in half, or let it all over the edge. Yeah. I kind of like that. Remember, I'm not supposed to be overthinking it, so we're going to do that. We're going to go right in here. You know what? I'm going to do a little ink before I take the backing off, just to give me something to work with. Otherwise, it'll be curling up on me and sticking to itself, and then I'll be in big trouble. All right. That. I don't get rid of those pieces of the plastic backing right away. I end up finding them everywhere. It's ridiculous. Okay, let me go right in here with this one. Yeah. There we go. Not bad, and I could wrap it around, but should I? Yeah, I'm wrapping it around because that's interesting back here. So that's cool. And you can kind of see through to the background there. And I like that. So we've got that. And let's look at, let me get over here and look at my words and see what I have. It's going to have to be small because this is such a skinny tag. But I've got, oh my gosh, I don't know, specimens could work. Yeah, that could work. Flora. That is Flora. Let's do that. It was just laying there by itself, waiting for something. I think that's probably, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. But how fun to just say, yay, and I obviously have Flora written down. I do a lot of, when I did that botanist journal video, I needed botanist journal and botanical and stuff like that. And flora and fauna I use a lot, so I just printed several lines of those words, and so I have a lot to utilize. So get that out of the way. We're going to do this. I'm not sure what all I want to put on the other side of this one. I mean, I guess I don't have to do anything, but now I've kind of committed to something because I've got that stamp wraparound situation there, but it's not horrible. Like this needs to be down here. Okay. So we're looking good there. I don't know. I can't tell if it's crooked because I'm trying to line it. line up the bottom of this with this because all that other stuff is womper-jawed on purpose. So I like that. That's pretty cool. And I think I'm going around the corners. Do I want to give it some weird? Yeah, I do. Let's give it, let's do the thing where it just looks like a bite out of it. Woo! Yeah, I like that. I could do that up top, and then I could do something different at the bottom. But do I want to? No, I'm going to do them all the same. Stuff is flying up. I've got my glasses on, thank goodness, or I'm going to get it in my eye. It's going everywhere. Anyway, so I've got that one done. And if I go back and embellish it with something, I could, but I'm going to call it done. That's okay. It doesn't need to be anything too crazy, and it's perfect for just sliding right down into something. So I'm going to give it an inking and okay, I like that. I like it. I hope you like it too. So, all right, I've already been at it for a while, so I'm gonna carry on, and once I get everything pretty much how I want it to look, I will show you, and maybe I'll even figure out where I'm going to put some of it. So anyway, I'll be back. So basically, here's where we ended up. I ended up not doing anything else to these because they're going to be tuck pockets. So I've got this guy with the little bird head, and I've got this one with the little lady head. So I don't know. Once I get them placed wherever I'm going to put them, then I'll figure out if I'm going to embellish. I may put something over, corners of it, and I want to wait and see what it's going to be on so that I know what I'm going to cover up if it even ends up happening like that. So I've got those, and then I've got, try to hold these up where you can see them. So I've got this little tag here. I haven't punched any holes or put any ribbons or anything like that yet because I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use them in. So most of them I just left one side plain, just the paper, and I embellished the other side. So the cohesive part of all of this, as far as calling this a set, and who knows if it's going to end up as a set, because probably all these things are going to be used in different projects or given away as, gift tags or cards or whatever. But the point of all of this being cohesive is, one, they're all made from, let me go get it again. Where is it? They're all made from one of these. Remember, that's what we used as the base for all the cards. We cut that up, except for that one's a Sprite instead of a Coke, a Sprite box. But anyway, but also, using those stamp stickers that I had, using my little stamps with all my different little postage. Here's one that's actually a stamp with a stamp and a stamp. I really like the way that looked, so I put it on here twice. But that's the whole point. And plus, they also all use a lot of the same paper that I was trying to use up. And I had a shot of all my scraps that were left over. And, like I said, you always end up with, seems like more, but that's okay. I got to use up a bunch of this paper that I had a lot of, and I'll continue to use these in other projects. So, anyway, but some of these, came out really cute. I really like this little guy right here, and a little girl with her horse. And I got to use up these stamps, which worked well. So I even did use some mushrooms. I repeated this stamp on this card, on this tag. This is a little wide guy. So this is the only one that I really embellished both sides. So we've got number 00987 over here. And then we've got two stamps. We've got a stamp over here and a stamp here. So we were able to utilize two right there. And then thought this one was kind of pretty. Laid some paper, kind of diagonally there, and but still able to see our base paper, which is real pretty. And that was that one. So there's that. And this one is a cinema stamp, which I thought was kind of cool. And I was able to kind of do a diagonal. Well, it isn't kinda. It's a diagonal piece on here out of a book page. So there was that. This one I just left square for now. I don't know. I thought, well, I don't have to round all the edges. On some of them, I, did them more like a tag cut. Some of them I did some of these kind of more fancier cuts. But on this one, I just left him straight edged for now. Just right angles for now, so that I can decide, I may use him for something. Who knows? He may become a tuck pocket or something. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of a challenge to see what all, I could make out of that. Here, I've got this stamp. I just went ahead and let it fold over. But make out of that set of cards, and it was fun. So, just remember, when you're throwing stuff away or throwing it in the recycle bin, think about it for a minute. You know, what's there that I can use? What can I make something out of? So anyway, thanks for putting up with this, and if you have any comments or questions or ideas about it, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.